Hi everyone. Today we're diving into a brand new crime series called Mobland, brought to you by none other than Guy Ritchie, the mastermind behind The Gentleman and Wrath of Man. It's all classic Ritchie. London, dangerous people, glamour, madness, and of course those signature Ritchie-style showdowns. If you're into gangster stories with a British twist, load your mags. Things are only going to get more intense from here. The story kicks off in a London teeming with crime clans. Our main guy is Harry, played by Tom Hardy, or Thomas Hardy if you trust the credits, but let's be real. We all know what the story is. He's trying to broker peace between two rival clans, the Dogans and the Lasersons. See, these families have shared the same roof for about 30 years now, and any conflict between them poses a major threat to everyone involved, including Harry himself. Luckily, he's got a knack for professional reconciliation, a guy who can turn a ticking powder keg into a cozy evening tea. Or well, almost. But there's a snag. The clan leaders aren't even close to shaking hands or apologizing. And without those formalities, there's no peace to be had. Sensing that things are about to blow, Harry climbs the ladder to his boss, a man named Conrad. This well-dressed gentleman runs London like a chessboard. He'll move a knight if he wants, or knock you out with a rook if you cross him. After listening to Harry, Conrad tosses out his signature metaphors. People are apple trees in a garden, and if the apples start rotting, you don't mourn the branch. Turns out both clans have been quietly pulling large sums of cash from places they had no business touching. So Conrad orders Harry to prune the boldest ones, set an example for the rest. Within a minute, Harry and his guys are gripping pistols. Those rotten apples? Swiftly removed. Then Conrad himself storms in the frame. He tells Harry to clean up the bodies and handle another task. Call the Maltese who are circling with a potential deal. Conrad gives him exactly 24 hours to make an offer, or boom, the deal's dead. Peace in this city, it seems, exists only in theory. The scene shifts, and we're now following two sons of criminal big shots, Eddie Harrigan and Tommy Stevenson. They're living the kind of day only the rich and reckless can afford, partying, splurging, and living like there's no tomorrow. But fate has a dark sense of humor. At a club, a bunch of Tommy's old acquaintances show up and start filming the chaos. Eddie panics. If his dad sees his footage, their whole crew's in deep trouble. In a panic, he smacks the phone out of someone's hand and throws some cash their way. Here's for a new phone. Now forget the old one. The classic move. Fewer witnesses, better sleep. The boys roll up to a private party. London's full of them. Just don't expect to get in easily. Eddie throws around some more cash to show off. And suddenly the guest list expands. But the fun doesn't last long. A petty conflict spirals into violence, and Eddie ends up stabbing some poor guy. Panic, chaos, people scatter in every direction. Tommy's stunned, but Eddie assures him, "I've got this. Just keep your mouth shut." Which honestly feels like the series' unofficial motto. While the grandson's off making a mess, the man himself, Conrad, starts his day calmly in his lavish mansion. He's off to relax with a bit of fishing. Naturally, everything's already prepped. Soon, he's visited by Archie Hammond, their lawyer and an old friend. They reminisce about their youth before diving into business. The Maltese are offering a 20% cut on heroin sales, but Conrad wants more, a 25% share and a $10 million advance, from the $5 million for the Hackney area and the rest for the Mexicans. These deals are a lot more serious than buying a 3-bedroom in the city center. There's just one hitch. It breaks old agreements with the Stevensons. But Conrad's not worried. The hotter you roast a fool, the faster he surrenders. So here's the plan. Squeeze the Stevensons out of the market or hit them where it hurts most. The goal is profit. The means? Well, let's just say nobody ever got rich playing it safe. Meanwhile, Harry gets a worrying call from Kevin, Conrad's son and Eddie's father. Turns out Eddie started a knife fight at the club last night. Cameras, witnesses, the full gentleman's package. If Grandpa finds out, trimming the apple tree will be the least of their worries. Harry's ordered to clean up, gather clothes, phone, any evidence that could point to Eddie. And do it fast. Harry poses as a cop and storms into the club's boss's office. At first, the guy doesn't believe Harry's from the Harrigan family, but a silver revolver speaks louder than any badge. The club quickly spills the info on where the stabbing victim can be found and promises to delete the footage. Harry wastes no time. He calls Archie, yep, the same lawyer, to check whether the victim has been questioned yet. Turns out 2 real cops are already en route. Harry bolts to the clinic and the story branches again. We meet 2 women, Alice and Jen, who randomly cross paths at a group therapy session. They share stories, realize they're spending a fortune on weird self-help courses, and decide why not put that money towards something more fun, like wine? Looks like they're supporting characters who come into play later because in Gangsterland, nobody's just passing through. Meanwhile, Harry makes it to the victim's hospital room. He convinces the guy that last night you were high on booze and ketamine, so you couldn't have seen the attacker's face clearly, right? If he says otherwise, his life could take a sudden detour, say to an abandoned warehouse. Not exactly a friendly suggestion. Once Harry gets the answer he wants, he takes off and disposes of the evidence, Eddie's clothes, phone, everything deep underground. Or more precisely, in coffins with already dead bodies where nobody's gonna look. Enter Richie Stevenson, rival or competitor, depending on perspective, to Conrad. His wife's on his case. Their son, Tommy, yep, Eddie's buddy, has been missing since last night. Richie sends his men to look for him. Turns out, Tommy was with the Harrigans. A phone call from Richie reaches Kevin, and it's full of threats. Bring back my son, or I'm coming for your whole clan. Kevin tells him to shove it. War is knocking on the door. Harry heads home to his wife, Jen. She's clearly mad about last night's fight, which, to top it off, was recorded on a voice memo. Harry tries to apologize, but Kevin calls with urgent business. Classic work versus personal life. Jen just asks him to find a spot for her mom in a care home, because of course, someone else just cut the line. Harry promises to fix it in their relationship. Book us in for therapy, we'll figure it out. Marriage counseling might be their last hope, but in this criminal world, even Freud would throw in the towel. Harry barely has time to breathe. He needs to find out what Eddie offered Tommy, and where Tommy vanished to. He tells Eddie's mom not to let her son out of the house, then heads off to meet the governor, a.k.a. Conrad. Conrad orders him to gather the guys and prepare for Richie's arrival. If Richie actually shows up, well, he'll need to be taken care of. Yep, just like that. Harry activates his old network. If I come out and check my pockets, that's the signal to shoot Richie in the head. Naturally, Richie shows up and tries to provoke Harry, but Harry keeps cool and promises to deal with Eddie. He walks out, calls Conrad. "Boss, are we doing this?" Conrad, after consulting with his wife, says, "Not yet. Let him die next to me when I'm ready." And immediately calls for a family meeting. They've got great news. Heroin profits have reached $2 million a week. But the new plan is even bigger. Flood the market with fentanyl. To do that, they'll need to steal Richie's product, eliminate him, and drive prices down to boost their own profit. Archie, the lawyer, tries to speak up. "Maybe don't rush this, boss. Let's assess things rationally," but Conrad snaps. He pulls out a gun and shoots Archie in the chest mid-sentence. The room falls silent. The family is horrified. The patriarch has officially gone off the rails and declared all-out war. No more compromises. Final thoughts. That wraps up the first episode of Gangsterland. We've seen a bloody skirmish, a family willing to do absolutely anything for power, and several storylines already tangled tighter than a sailor's knot. Intrigue, threats, love. Hopefully that therapy wasn't just for show. New business partners and skeletons in the closet. This is just the beginning. What's next? Can Conrad keep control of the city while his own family teeters on the brink? How will Richie react once he realizes Conrad's coming for his fentanyl empire? And what about Harry, forever stuck between his boss, his wife, and the unhinged antics of the young mafia? Trust me, things are only going to escalate from here. If you like this not-so-short recap of Episode 1, let me know in the comments. There's a lot more to come. This series is just getting started. This was Bloody Recaps. Thanks for watching or listening, and see you in the world of Mobland.